everyone. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're having fun at home. I hope you are continuing the learning at home. We won't be able to see each other for a few more weeks, so I wanted to come on and read another story to you. This story is called Lost and Found. The author and the illustrator is Oliver Jeffers. If you are on Instagram, every day this author, Oliver Jeffers, has been going on Instagram Live and he has been reading aloud one of his books. He has some really awesome books that we read in the classroom. We haven't had the chance to read them at this point, but he has some really cool ones about crayons that can talk. So this is one that I have at home. It's called Lost and Found. And before we get started, if I can look at the details here in the cover, I'm looking at a little boy inside of an umbrella. I can see that there's somewhere in the ocean and he's got a penguin with him. So that makes me wonder, are my two main characters going to be a boy and a penguin? Remember, sometimes our book gives us clues about what's going to happen before we even open it and read it, so we can look at these picture details here. So I have a feeling this might be about a boy and a penguin, but let's see. I see a little suitcase here before the book gets started. And here's my title page. Remember, my title page tells me, again, the name of my book, the title. So this one is Lost and Found. And it usually tells me, again, the author and the illustrator. So for this one, the author and illustrator is Oliver Jeffers. He does both. Once, there was a boy who found a penguin at his door. What would you do if you found a penguin at your door? I feel like I'd be pretty excited, but also pretty concerned why a penguin would be here in Pennsylvania at my door. The boy didn't know where it had come from, but it began to follow him everywhere. The penguin looked sad, and the boy thought it must be lost. So the boy decided to help the penguin find its way home. He checked with the Lost and Found office, but no one was missing a penguin. He asked some birds if they knew where the penguin came from. "Hey birds, do you know where this penguin came from?" But they ignored him. Some birds are just like that. The boy asked his duck, but the duck floated away. He didn't know either. That night, the boy couldn't sleep for disappointment. He wanted to help the penguin, but he wasn't sure how. So what would you do if you found this penguin? And I'm going to turn back to this page and show you up close. He thought the penguin looked so sad. He thought he was lost. So what would you do if you found this penguin? How would you help him if you thought he felt so super sad? The next morning, he discovered that penguins come from the South Pole. But how could he get there? He ran down to the harbor and he asked a big ship to take them to the South Pole. "Hey, can you take us to the South Pole? I have to take this penguin back." But his voice was much too small to be heard over the ship's horn. Together, the boy decided he and the penguin would row to the South Pole. So the boy took his rowboat out and tested it for size and strength. He told stories to the penguin to help pass the time. Then they packed everything they would need. And they pushed the rowboat out to sea. So I'm thinking that his solution to his problem is he wants to take his rowboat and him and the penguin are going to row all the way to the South Pole. Do you think that's a good way to fix this problem? Would you want to take a rowboat all the way to the South Pole? Just you by yourself with a penguin? They rode south for many days and many nights. There was lots of time for stories, and the penguin listened to everyone, so the boy would always tell another. I think that this boy is definitely pretty brave, because if that was me, I would be, I think, pretty scared to be out in the dark ocean all by myself with just a penguin who can't talk back to me. They floated through weather, good and bad. When the waves were as big as mountains. So in 102, Mr. T taught us a word that means really, really big. Do you guys remember what that word is? You could use it to talk about this wave. I would say this wave is prodigious. It means huge, giant, gigantic. This is a prodigious wave. Until finally, they came to the South Pole. The boy was delighted, but the penguin said nothing. Suddenly, it looked sad again as the boy helped it out of the boat. If you look really closely, here's a little sign. It says, "Welcome to the South Pole." Then the boy said goodbye and floated away. When he looked back, the penguin was still there, but it looked sadder than ever. So the boy's solution, at first the problem was that the penguin looked really sad, and the boy's solution was he was going to take the penguin back to where he thought it came from, which was the South Pole. But now he followed through with that solution. He got the penguin to the South Pole. And not only does the penguin look sad, but the penguin looks sadder than it ever did before. Why do you think the penguin's so sad now that the boy is rolling away? If you're watching this with somebody at home, maybe you can tell them, why do you think the penguin's so sad? Let's see. It felt strange for the boy to be on his own. There was no point in telling stories now, because there was no one who could listen except the wind and the waves. Instead, he just thought. And the more he thought, the more he realized he made a big mistake. The penguin hadn't been lost. It had just been lonely. Quickly, he turned the boat around, and he rowed back to the South Pole as fast as he could. So we're going to look very carefully at these pictures. So here is a big iceberg. If you look carefully under the water, you can see the other part of that iceberg going down deep. And here's the little boy in his boat, and he's turning around because he realized a big mistake. But if you look carefully, who do you see right there? As he reached the pole again, at last, there was no penguin though. The boy searched and searched, but he was nowhere to be found. Sadly, the boy set off for home. But then he saw something in the water, and it was ahead of him. Closer and closer he got until he could see. What do you think he sees out there? Make a prediction. Remember, that means you're making a smart guess about what you think might happen. So would it be a smart guess if I said he's going to look ahead of him and he's going to see a witch flying on her broom eating McDonald's? Is that a smart guess about what might happen? No. Who do you think he might see ahead of him? Who's he looking for? The penguin! And so the boy and his friend went home together, talking of wonderful things all the way. And look carefully, what do you see swimming under them? Looks like some big whales. One thing that I really like, if you look carefully, the penguin is rowing in that umbrella that they packed at the beginning of the book. When they packed all their important things, they packed an umbrella. And here he is using the umbrella for a little boat so he could go find the boy. The end. So kind of like the boy and the penguin, I am missing you so much. But the good thing is we're not lost. Hopefully we will be able to see each other in a couple of weeks. And in the meantime, I'm going to try to give everybody in 102 a call and maybe set up some times where we can look at each other on the computer. We can talk to each other and hang out for a little bit on the computer since we can't hang out in the classroom and at Jackson. And hopefully if you are watching this and you're not in room 102, hopefully your teachers will be doing the same and you can catch up with your classmates and get a chance to see everybody. But I hope everyone is doing well. I hope you enjoyed that story and hopefully I can read again to you soon. Bye.